Okay, so after my extremely long hiatus, I'm back. A couple of things happened which left me feeling a little deflated, in part because of the headpiece I made a tutorial about, but I'm glad that it's over, and I can't wait to talk about my new project. I'm going to turn into a scary cat. Where's that noise coming from? So I have this habit where I go to my local fabric shop and look at the scraps and bits and pieces that are left and often sold at a discount. And I sometimes think, oh, this looks amazing. I'm going to turn this into a scarf for my cat. That almost never happens because I don't have a cat anymore. Um, so I so I decided to make something for Halloween because I needed to use up this fabric and it was starting to clog up my bedroom and yeah, it was horrible. This project was also a really good excuse for me to get back into the creative mindset, which caused me to create that weird Barney tutorial that went semi-viral for some reason. My first idea was to kind of cut up all of the fabric that I had and I didn't really plan on using, but after figuring out that it would take way too much time and waste a lot of fabric with barely any coverage really, I decided to just sew the different panels together and hopefully I could make some sort of coat. I succeeded, but using the word code is a little misleading. I basically just made a poncho and yeah, it doesn't look great. So I'll just pretend it's an aesthetic thing. Also, side note, there are a bunch of Temu ads that keep popping up everywhere on my phone right now as I'm recording this. So yeah, I'm just staring at everything. Nevertheless, I did just realize that by poncho I actually meant a onesie, but it sort of looks like both. My first plan quickly fell apart because I figured out I'm going to use too much fabric and I already have a lot but not that much. So I tried to construct it by taking some ribbon that I bought for €3 and trying to make a cage around my body, and I could basically sew the panels to that. I devised a plan that would entail me putting two pieces of ribbon behind my back, two pieces of ribbon that would sort of finish the my weird onesie, and two pieces of ribbon under each one of my armpits, and then one piece of ribbon behind my neck to try and connect the sleeves that I made beforehand and before I even knew what I was doing. Also, side note again, I wasted a lot of time really hemming the edges of the ribbon because I sort of ignored the fact that the ribbon is mostly plastic and can just melt together. So I could have just melted it with a match and made it to got it to stop fraying, but I decided to ignore it and waste several hours. I also stabbed myself a bunch of times. Okay, I know this looks kind of disorganized, but these are my sleeves. So, yeah, this is very. It looks questionable right now. That's all I have to say. As soon as I started actually attaching the panels to the ribbon, all hell broke loose. It was horrible. I could barely figure out what I was doing. I was sort of finishing the edges constantly on the wrong sides, And that was a problem even with the sleeves because I had no idea how to orientate myself while I was sewing on the bus, or orient myself, sorry. Um, what else? Oh yes. Um, I just that's why it looks so ugly. I just kept messing up. Um, and the worst part is that I sort of awkwardly placed the ribbon, and that did horrors for the armholes that I had to sort of break apart and reattach the sleeves to. And yeah, it was horrible. And that's why this thing barely closes despite being full of fabric. I can barely look presentable even though this is very ugly. You can really go with any color scheme you want. I just chose some black fabric, then um, this satin. Okay, and it's not satin, it's viscose, but I like to call it satin because that makes it sound fancy. And then also some matte green fabric. Now, I don't know how this will end up looking on your computer screens, but on my camera it looked way the viscose looked way bluer than it actually was and way darker. So maybe that was just it changing the saturation. I'm not sure. So yeah, that's the end of part one of this video, I guess. Um, I'm gonna try and make pants. I have a lot of fabric left, but I'm not sure if I have enough, and I am worried. So if I want to win um, the next year's Poost competition, I should try and really get good at face painting, I guess. So yeah, there's that. Stay tuned, like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Also, here's a picture of my cat. I'm joking, it's not my cat. I'm not sure if I can get another sewing video up in 1 week, and I'm really trying to push myself to stay on a consistent schedule. So I'm probably just going to either review a somewhat popular restaurant, at least among rich people, or just show you some cool places around Ljubljana that a lot of tourist guides miss, unfortunately.